Do we have a skimmer?
We have ourselves a lovely, lovely skimmer. Let's try and get him in. And then we'll talk you through one piece of equipment that's vital for this winter style silverfish fishing. He's a nice fish, isn't he? Hey. We're at Riddings today on the folly pool, catching a lot of fish. Basically, we've had a bite every put in, haven't we, Rob?
Yeah.
But that's one of the nicer skimmers from in here. Looks lovely on worms.
It's a cracker, that one, Jordan.
But yeah, we'll put him in the net. And yeah, this one piece of equipment that's really vital to this style of fishing is a front pole support like I've got here. Now, the one I've actually got, I'll just put my rig down for a second, is just like a reeve one. So it has I basically have this reeve front ripple bar on the front. And you can see it's just got these small ripples in. And I really like this one because I can switch between lines. So obviously if I feed like a negative long line and a positive long line, I can quickly just slide my pole along it depending on where I'm fishing. It's also really good if there's any tow. So if it's tow into the right, I can keep my pole to the left. And it just gives me more positions, whereas the ones with like 3 or 4 little bumps
dips.
if you haven't fed in that position, it's quite hard to get your
You
pole
have to
where you
move
want
the
it. You have
bars
to move
around.
the bar all the time, yeah. So that's just a reeve ripple bar. And another reason I like it is it's really long.
Yeah.
Some of them you get are quite short, so you only have a little angle to go on. So yeah, that's my front bit. And then these are reeve bars as well, but these are like a longer version. Now they're really difficult to get hold of, but I found some on like Facebook Marketplace, and these are just a little bit longer. So when I'm putting fish in my actual keep net, I've got room to put my fish in my net, whereas if you have the little short bars, your front bar is right in the middle of the keep net, and it makes it really, much more difficult to put fish in the net. So I also like to have these longer bars. The pole is then also further away from yourself, so when I put it in the bar, like it feels more stable, just having it that bit further away. Daiwa have just released one, I think. Daiwa have just made one which like extends quite far as well, so I think that's really important, and it just tightens up lovely and tight, and it's not going to go anywhere. So we'll do a bit of fishing, and I'll show you how I like to use it. Yeah.
What's the reason for having it that way around other than like upside down, does that make sense? You've got it like pointing up rather than down. Is there any reason for that? Or?
Not really. I just prefer it like that, but you can have it the other way around.
If it's like dead windy or something, you want to trap it in against one of the corners.
Yeah, you can trap it in against a corner, and then it's not like blowing away kind of thing. But just on a flat, calm day like today, I always just like to have it like that.
Very nice, very nice.
And yeah, we're just fishing worms today, and I've potted our bait in, holding our pole like so, like this.
Yeah.
And what these spray bars, you can see I've like put my bait in like this, and that's where my bait is. Whereas when I put it in the bar, like so, just putting it under my bum, in the little strap here, you can see he's in there.
Under bum strap.
Yeah, we don't know what to call it, do we? We try to look for the name, but we just call it an under bum strap.
Yeah.
And then just flick it out past. This is one of the advantages to fishing with this front bar. Now everything's locked in position, and that rig is just slightly past the edge of the bait, which is a killer for skimmer fishing. So
important that for skimmers a lot of the time,
really nice
isn't it?
little thing, isn't it, to have in your armoury, even on these flat calm days like today where it feels like you don't really need, I could just hold my pole. Nothing is ever as good as sometimes having this front bar on my rigs. Just nicely past my bait there, and sometimes you can just pick off a few better fish, or just when they're hanging off the edge of the bait, really. It can be a lovely little tool to have, yeah. Obviously a few other reasons to have it. Well, there we are, it's a bite, just a little fish. So it doesn't really even slow you down in your fishing or anything. Like, there's no negative to having one in front of you, really.
Very efficient, isn't it? The way you sort of like hook that fish.
Yeah.
Just lean forward slightly and it just pops out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't slow you down at all. It's nice and efficient. And there's a few other reasons to having one. Another one is for, like, obviously on a really windy day. Oh, my rig's tangled around the end of the pole.
Little tangle.
Just a little one. Might be a big one now.
It's all right, you can untangle it. This is what happens, folks, to all these professionals. Still getting tangles.
You're cutting this out of the video.
No, I'm not.
Now, obviously on a really windy day, when you can't hold your pole still at longer lengths, it's really good because you can put it under this rear strap like so. Flick that rig out. And then when your pole's trying to blow like left and right like this all the time, what you can do is just like clamp down on it a little bit, push down, hold your hands out, and you can hold it really still, nice in position. So
Using your body weight.
Really good use for it. And then one other good use for it, obviously, when these lakes are towing like left to right or right to left, you can have your pole like slightly to the left today. That's just my preferred preference when there's no tow. But if it was towing to the left, I could have my pole to the right of my float, and then I could just hold it dead still. And stability in skimmer fishing is really, really important. You can't have your rig just blowing around absolutely everywhere. They seem to like a static bait quite a lot, so having that front rest is really important for those few little things.
I like it. I like using mine, to be fair. I even use mine when I'm fishing pellets and stuff at venues like Holcroft. It's the same principle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keeping everything dead still.
Yeah, stability is really, really important. Like I say, for this skimmer fishing, this little edge here of where I've fed ground bait and then just flicking my rig slightly past can be absolutely deadly on some days. Some days you just don't get bites over your bait at all, and then you put it in the bump bar like this and you just start catching. It's unbelievable some days.
Why do you think that is? Do you think they just sit off the back of your feet?
I don't know. I think when it's clear they get a bit spooky of all that bait and they just want to sit off the back edge of it. And I even have a few like little dolly butts for my pole to go even more past it. So like,
yeah,
I can try like a metre past it. I have like 1 metre dolly and then I have a little short one as well. Hey, up a little F1.
Oh, we've got an F1, have we?
Little tiny F1.
There's loads of them in here. Little crackers.
Little crackers,
Oh,
like so.
Stunners.
Beautiful.
Don't mind them worms, do they?
They don't mind them worms.
See if you can snare us a big skimmer, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Looks like he's got one on there.
Oh, there's a few in here. Beautiful lake, this folly pool, isn't it?
It's a beautiful lake, yeah. Loads and loads of fish. Just going to get to my far bank here. Sorry, my far bank, my rear support. Get
The
my
rear
rig,
support.
flick it out past.
We've got lots of names for
Put
that
it
little
in.
gadget, haven't we?
Put it in. Yeah, like we say, it's lovely and stable. It's lovely. You can be hands-free. Obviously, on windy days, you can catapult bait out. You can loose feed short without flicking your pole tip up all the time. There's just lots and lots of good uses to it. I think it's vital you have one for this winter silverfish fishing. Some people like to have it like up so they can still hold it in their hands and have the bar up, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. Having it dead high.
yeah. But that's not for me, to be honest. I'm using it. I like to have it in this rear strap like so. And I'm just keeping that pole nice and still like so. And if it was windy, I could hold it nice and still. It's just gone under again then. Lovely.
Smaller roach this time?
Roach, I think. We have little runs, don't we, where we catch a couple of nice ones and then we have a few of these smaller fish.
I'm sure there'll be one lurking.
I'm sure there'll be the one lurking. We'll catch one in a minute.
It's good to see it in action though. I'm liking it. Would you ever use it when you're not fishing for skimmers? Carp and F1 fishing?
Sometimes. I've been to a few. I went to a place called Kiverton Waters and the fishing was difficult. Like, you only fish for a handful of bites.
Yeah.
From nice carp. And I used it that day, like fishing 16 metres. I put it in the bar. I could just sit and wait. My float was nice and stable. And I could just sit and wait for an odd carp bite. So when I'm fishing for like just a few fish, like a handful of nice quality fish, I think it's really good for that as well.
Keeps you patient, doesn't it, almost?
Keeps you nice and patient, yeah. Slows you down sometimes a little bit. Sometimes you can go a bit too fast. Like, and then you end up trying to lift and drop your float all the time when you don't really need to.
Yeah, I found it helpful. Like, sometimes where I go in winter, the Oaks, like, sometimes you have to fish 17 metres for, like, silvers when it's rock hard. And sometimes it's just like, it's painful holding that much pole all day.
Yeah, I can imagine it. And that's where this bar's really good, isn't it?
100%. So you see, you kind of just flick your rig out, and in one motion, you can sort of flick your rig.
Yeah, I'm in position.
And then you're in position. Once you get into the flow of it, really.
Obviously, there are a few other uses. Obviously, on a river, for example, when it's flowing like left to right, and you're on a flat flow, you can hold your float dead still over your bait. You know, just holding your float to the left if it's flowing to the right. So there's quite loads of different uses for it, but there's loads for this commercial silverfish fishing as well. Just lost 2 in a row now.
You're falling off. Only small ones, though. We don't need them.
Yeah, only the baby ones.
Only the babies. Be nice to catch a skimmer to end on.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll give it a good go. Come on, the skimmers. This is what it's been like today, though. Like a few little runs of small fish, and then a few bigger fish afterwards.
Yeah, doesn't it? Plenty of bites though to keep us warm.
Plenty of bites.
That's all you want in winter, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
A few bites. It's not worse than sitting there. I can't be doing with carp fishing in winter, me. I don't know about you.
No, not enough bites, is there?
No.
And other thing I quite like to use this bar for, obviously, yeah, it's fishing a long pole, but sometimes when you're fishing with maggots and worms and casters over ground bait, and you fish for like good quality skimmers, sometimes you want to put quite a bit of line on the bottom, and I'd put as much as like 8-10 inches of line on the bottom, places like Larford where it's deeper, or Meadowlands. And then you can hold your rig dead still. Obviously that line's on the bottom, and sometimes them bigger skimmers just pick it up more willingly like that and fishing dead depth. So that's when it's really important as well. And if you just try to do the same, just holding it in your hands, sometimes it just doesn't go under for some reason.
There's just naturally a bit of movement in your rig, I think,
you
isn't
just
there?
naturally move along. Especially with just natural tow on big lakes as well. You can easily just be trundling your float through without even realising sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's really important to have one. You see, it's gone a bit calmer now, my peg. I feel like we have a chance now of catching a bigger skimmer.
There's a chance for skimmer now, isn't there?
Hopefully.
Every time it's gone a little bit quiet, there's been a better fish.
Yeah.
I suppose it's the same principle as, like, you know how feeder anglers like to use a bit of backrest so they're not holding the rod?
Yeah.
It's almost the same principle as that, really.
It is. It's exactly the same. And obviously when the float does go under as well, you can have a bit more time, a bit more patience to actually strike, especially with big quality fish as well. You want to be making sure that, you know, you're striking at bites and not liners and stuff, and that they're properly on. Just more comfortable. Like I could now like loose feed short without wobbling my pole tip absolutely everywhere. No, that's another tiny fish.
Demonstrated the fishing though, mate.
Yeah.
Do we want to try and catch a skimmer though?
Go on, we'll give it one more chuck, and if we don't get one, at least
It's tough.
You've learnt a little bit about why you need to get a pole bar.
Yeah, it's
Pole support, pole bar, ripple bar.
pole support, yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, an essential bit of kit, really.
Right, I'm going to flick it right past now.
We're going long.
Yeah,
Sometimes them big skimmers will just sit right past, don't they?
Yeah.
They're devils.
Especially as it gets clearer and colder as well.
Just a bit wary of that volume of bait, aren't they, sometimes? At Hallcroft, even when you're fishing pellets, a lot of the time you catch them way past your bait, which is
it's incredible sometimes, isn't
unusual. But yeah, it's always the same.
It's amazing how often at Hallcroft, even in the summer, they just like to sit back from that main bait, don't they?
100%.
Oh, there we are, Rob.
Hey, is it a skimmer this time?
It is.
Oh, yes.
Ah, yes, it's a skimmer.
Oh, it's coming along the top.
He's come straight to the top, hasn't he?
He has.
But yeah, I hope you've learnt a few different things about why you need to get yourself a spray bar. There we are. Lovely, lovely little skimmer to end on.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, George. Let's have a look at him
problem.
to finish.
There we are.
Stunning.